Hiya girls, we are Barney and Lukey and we are the hot young visionaries behind Truffle Pig Wigs.
And this is Cliffhangers, the unofficial, unrequested and unhinged RuPaul's Drag Race recap show.
The views and opinions expressed on Cliffhangers are from a couple of women who just love drag and have zero real business judging it. If you are not a fan of red-hot acidic critique, turn back now.
Okay, she is a drag artiste, she's a host, she's a DJ, she's a presenter, she's a South London girl. Give it up for Lagoon. How you doing?
Woo! Hello.
So good. Can I just say as well, as someone who's been broadcasting and in broadcasting for nearly 4 years, this is my first time as a guest
Really?
on any sort of podcast sort of situation. I'm usually asking all the questions, so I'm so excited to be sitting back.
Don't judge us too much.
The hot.
I mean, I don't know. Oh yeah, like no pressure or anything, but like I don't know. I've seen you guys, I've seen the way you girls work, and I'm so here for it. So I'm just thrilled to be here, honestly.
Yay!
Honestly, I feel like this might be a fantastic dynamic then, because I feel like the best sort of guests are going to be someone that knows about presenting, because we sure as hell don't.
We don't know anything. All right,
You're natural.
Yeah.
Okay. So to the people that might not know who you are, can you tell us what is the essence of Lagoon? Maybe in 3 words, if you can.
Sure thing. So, gosh, I don't know. For what I'm trying to do, I suppose, in drag, I'd say the essence of Lagoon is something which is, you know, kind of otherworldly, very glam, but also really stupid and kind of irreverent and really not trying to take myself too seriously whatsoever. I think there's nothing kind of fabber than when someone looks $1 million and looks incredible and then like doesn't mind like falling flat on their face. I think that's kind of perfect. Like you see so many girls who are kind of like practically perfect in every single way and like never miss a beat. Like nothing is ever wrong. They're like perfect down to the last detail, and that's so aspirational and so amazing. Yeah, just like you two. I mean, I don't know.
Thank you.
Inspiring. But that's never been something I've been able to achieve in drag or out of drag. And I feel like once you kind of let that go, you're then freer to do everything else. You know, it doesn't matter if you kind of like miss a word or you fall over or like, you know, I don't know, your lace isn't glued down in the corner or whatever it might be. So yeah, so that's kind of the vibe. It's like glam and stupid.
That is the best combo.
They are literally our 2 pillars of drag. Like they're all I give a fuck about. Like, some level of glamour, but also our definition of glamour is very. It's a very dark corner of the internet, and then like as stupid and gross as possible.
I think Willem said there's nothing interesting about watching a beautiful person do well. So it's like, yeah, you be pretty, but that's boring.
Yeah. Which I mean, it's just not very relatable. I'm just not like, I don't really see myself. I don't really see my life journey in someone who's just kind of like gorgeous, like succeeding all the time. Like that just doesn't on an emotional level at all.
And the majority of my like drag icons as well are people that have never once tried to make themselves look like the idea of like a passable femme in any way. Like,
right. Yeah, those were never kind of the girls I went to first for inspo. They were never the ones who I was like, I mean, obviously like respect it so much. Like when you see someone like Plastique Tiara, you just think, oh my God, like she looks like a breath from like God's vagina. Do you know what I mean?
That is a woman.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. But like I see it and I'm like, that's just never going to be me. And that's totally fine. Like, whatever, I can do something else.
And also, can we hit you with your many aliases as well? Because we have Lagoon, but we also have Zooey as well. What's the mix up with?
Well, my name is Zooey Gleaves, so that's just my name. Like, I think people think that like
your government name.
Well, no, my God. Well, honey, there's another one.
You can have as many as you want.
Yeah, I know. Just like, I know I haven't paid my tax in like 16 years. Just kidding.
Paris, Zooey Successful.
Exactly, it's very that. No, my government name is Zachary, but I've never ever used it. And my parents always wanted to call me Zooey and always have called me Zooey and basically gave me Zachary just in case I was like ever embarrassed of the name Zooey and kind of wanted something that was a bit more like conventional and a bit more kind of conservative. But that was obviously
Zachary is my middle name, so watch your mouth.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes.
Listen, it's a gorgeous name. I think it's lovely. Apparently Zooey as well as the traditional Jewish nickname for Zachary, which I only found out at like a later date. I had no idea. Yeah. But Zooey's kind of been Zooey is my name and has kind of always been my name, just not my government name. And then Lagoon is my drag name. But before that, I wasn't always called Lagoon Femshayma. Actually, my first ever drag name was Cherry Gardens, which is after the Vibes Cartel song Summertime, if you're aware.
We're London gals, don't you forget it.
Yeah.
No, of course. So it was Cherry Gardens first after Vibes, and then it was Diamond Garden where I was like, I'm gonna get like a little bit more like expensive. Yeah. And I went, do you know what I mean? I was kind of like, opulent. I thought for a minute I was like that mad like delusion of grandeur. And then I went to like a Pride one year and saw a drag queen called Rose Garden. And I was like, I need to get like I was like, so many girls are called Cherry. Like, it can't be Cherry. I can't have Garden in there. Let's do a rebrand for fucking 2017. Let's like gag the girls. Then it was Lagoon Femshayma. So that's what it is.
Cute. It's a good name. We literally all the time try and come up with good drag names, and it's essentially impossible at this point. Everything is covered. Everything is done. So unless you can get...
Especially the pun ones.
And yeah, unless you can get disgusting pun.
Guys... I have a list on my phone.
So do we.
It's now become my party trick to the point where like my heterosexual like girlfriends after like a couple beers would be like, get the drag queen names out.
What's the name? Name her. No, okay.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Like they all want a name. So no,
I keep thought of a good one.
Live on air.
Namer Shamer.
Namer Shamer. Like an Italian queen. Namer
Shamer.
Yeah.
Namer and Shamer.
Namer and Shamer. Okay.
Namer and Shamer.
Yeah.
From the house of Femshayma, of course.
Yeah, exactly. We've actually started doing it on the podcast, like introducing each other. And it is every single week we like start with like an insult. We'll start like cussing each other out, and then like when we come back after the advert, we'll do like a drag name. And how many we've done 4, and it's already getting like exhausting.
Yeah.
Absolutely exhausting trying to find one. My one today was Fickless Cage, and that was like barely.
Well, me and my friend Albie all the time say I'm at Gagatha Christie.
Yeah.
Christie. I mean, maybe you'll see that next week. That's mine, but consider it stolen.
Okay.
Okay, so who would play Lagoon in the film of your life?
Okay. Well, I mean, there aren't very many like blue actresses, so it would. Gosh,
the porn girls.
What?
The porn girls.
A bit of blue.
Oh yeah. She's doing like double entendres already. Yeah. Who would play Lagoon Femshayma? I know it's a tricky one. You know, who could do it?
Who's got the range?
Who's got the range? Who's
got the clearance?
Who was the talent? Who was the endurance? Quite frankly, I don't know. Let's go for like Paula Radcliffe. I feel like she'd do a great job.
Not Paula. Not Paula.
For the piss.
Yeah. Is that part of your stage show?
That's the versatility that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Depends on how much the booking fee is. To be brutally honest.
Everything's got a price.
And I run to every gig that I do, FYI.
Every single lip sync is just done on a treadmill.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do a video performance piece with like me in full drag doing like Shirley Bassey ballad, but running like 12 kilometers an hour on a treadmill.
Doing a mini marathon.
Falling off my face.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
Yeah.
Okay then, so if we've got Paula Radcliffe for Lagoon, who would we got for Zooey/Zach?
Oh my God, for Zooey, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm like 6'6" as a man. I'm like quite like
6'6".
Yeah. I'm like a huge.
Oh, expect those DMs to be slidden into.
Yeah. Well,
can we see the back, please?
This is the front.
Thank you.
And this is the back. Congratulations. Although,
so I don't know. It would have to be someone quite tall. I did think for a minute that it could be like a young Armie Hammer, but I don't.
The choices have been rogue today. I'm not going. But also, the
shitting in the street,
yeah,
cannibalism. It's just
a young Dennis Nielsen, probably.
Cannibalism has its own glamour, though. IMO.
It's good for the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of hypocritical considering that literally 10 years ago, the entire world was obsessed with vampires. And it's like, oh, what? Like now, like you don't think eating people is kind of cool anymore. It's like you love them.
Oh, they're not sparkly. It's not cool anymore.
No, not
Get a life.
Not here.
It's like, get a fucking life, grow up. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know who I would suggest as.
I don't know. It's like
A Peter Crouch.
I don't even know who that is, but I know that they're sports. So maybe it should be a basketball player.
You know what? I'm down. How about then we cast it? Abby Clancy plays Lagoon. Peter Crouch.
Love it.
There we go.
Very into it. The power couple.
And she brings the glamour. She brings the expensiveness. Abby Clancy.
Oh, and that house accent is just too much for me.
Me and my friend did a burlesque routine at Abby and Peter's joint birthday party.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I saw them both in real life. Peter is actually almost fit IRL, and Abby is just an absolute stunner. She said that we look beautiful, and I was like, fuck off. How you're beautiful, we're not beautiful.
She's honestly so stunning. Didn't she also do like UK's Next Top Model? Wasn't she one of the contestants of UK's Next Top Model?
No, wasn't she like one of the judges?
Maybe she was one of the judges. She's like she's like stunningly beautiful. She also did like incredible fashion editorials for like, maybe it was like Pop magazine or Love magazine, like back in the day. Like she has actually got some like high fashion credentials. Like I think Bruce Weber might have like photographed her in the day. Yeah, no, I think she's actually like got a couple fab credits on her. She's a fucking babe. I love her.
Lagoon Femshayma.
Imagine in the voice.
That's all and say good to see you, gorgeous for me.
So if we've got the Crouches coming up, who would be your drag parents? So who are the two people that birthed the monster?
It's Lee Bowery and Samantha Jones from Sex and the City.
Fantastic.
Down the middle.
I mean,
that's how it's done.
And that's it. Normally it's like, we've asked this question before, and sometimes it can be sort of, like Aquaria and RuPaul. It's like the intersection of Samantha Jones and Lee Bowery. I see it.
Right, do you know what I mean? That makes sense. It's like everything from like being like a glamorous hotel lobby with like a sparkling drink to kind of like being kind of like bright red and like rolling around in like tangerines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Literally.
And the Escada shoulders. I see the big jewelry for you. I see it all.
I'm having loads of costumes made at the moment. I've got this like incredible team of seamstresses who are making me stuff right now. And like Samantha Jones and Lee are like all over the mood boards. It's like everything.
Oh, I can't wait to
just
see.
Like those two together. It's quite fab.
Are we going to see potentially a pregnant Lagoon?
Oh my God.
Trapdoor and someone comes out. Perhaps a small young child. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing I'd like more than to strap a human being to my body. And
I can remember first seeing that on YouTube when I was like 13. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm in. I'm sold.
Honestly, so amazing.
Just like rocking my shit, just being like...
Like, depending on where they did the performance, like the outcome was different. So, like if they were doing like a more PG crowd, she'd like drink some, I don't know, like Nicola Bowery, his kind of wife, and who also like runs the foundation of his now since he passed away. She'd be like, sometimes she'd like drink his piss, or sometimes she'd like drink his vomit. But then sometimes it would just be like, if it was for kind of like kids. I mean, I don't know if they ever did it for like toddlers and tweens. Like, sometimes it would just be like cranberry juice or whatever. So like they altered it. They were like professionals.
You gotta keep it fresh.
I can remember her saying as well that I saw in an interview with her that she was like, because Lee used to get so sweaty that when she was like up in his body, that she would just be like, literally, she felt like she was in the womb because she'd be like sliding around so much because he was just like dripping in sweat. I mean opulence, glamour.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's actually the true test of like a fucking professional and like a drag queen, because my God, like few people would voluntarily tie themselves to Lee Bowery's like hulking body like that.
But we will be holding auditions for yours. We'll put a call out. Who wants to be strapped? 6'6". Come on, who wants to be strapped?
Oh, put that on Grindr. You'll have like people around the block.
Like, such a shame that they can't do like the Craigslist personal ads anymore, because that would be great. It's like, who wants to be strapped to my naked body?
Oh my God, so good.
Exactly. And then birthed.
And then birthed. Oh my God, yeah. Someone with serious mummy issues, which I'm happy to follow.
Hello.
Who would you say would be your biggest glamour inspirations?
Glamour inspirations, gosh. Well, I don't know. I've always found New York like an incredibly glamorous place. For me, New York is kind of like the height, like the zenith of glamour. And I always think about, coming out of like the AIDS crisis of the 80s and going into the 90s, thinking about someone like Susanne Bartsch, who was always so kind of, she did like such incredible kind of like humanitarian work, but it's always done through a lens of total glamour. So, you know, it can be activism or it can be community work, but it's always done in a way which feels incredibly elevated and incredibly sexy and incredibly glamorous. And the Love Ball, which he did, I think, in 1989 and 1990, which were two huge HIV fundraisers, you know, were thrown in this incredible venue in New York City. And it was everyone from like Cindy Crawford to Fran Lebowitz attending these. And like, you know, they got all Vogue balls in New York to compete for all the fashion designers and all the houses. For me, there's nothing kind of more glamorous than that. And she still throws incredible parties. She does a party every Tuesday.
Still working and still getting dressed up.
Oh my God, and still looking incredible. Absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, I'd say she's, you know, always super duper glam in my mind. And
the
she's
body on her as well, still. I wouldn't even hasten to guess a lady's age, but...
No, me neither. And, you know, crossing my fingers, hopefully I'll be booked by her one day.
Oh,
soon.
Lovely. A little on top.
I believe she listens to the pod. So,
yeah. A little boom boom room. Oh,
Suzanne, if you're listening.
And she always also as well, because she's so well connected, she always just has like mental sneak guests.
No.
Like, I mean, her with Madonna the other day.
No, it's insane.
Crazy.
Well, I don't know, it's also just like to get to that point and to be working in nightlife for like 40 years and to still be as respected as you were when you started. That's like, I mean, especially in nightlife where, let's be honest, like half people work in nightlife are like headless, like drug addict, like chicken-headed morons. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, like nightlife is not right. Exactly. I'm looking at two of them right.
Look at the material.
And it's like, you know, it's hard to kind of sustain anything, let alone like your looks and like your glam and your mystique. And the fact that like, you know, people like Amanda Lepore or, you know, Joey Arias or Susanne who've been in clubs for 40 years are still doing it. It's like, that's fucking cool. And they look fucking fab to this day. So yeah.
Joey only gets better with age as well. Like, I mean, so does Amanda. Like literally, when the last time we saw her, like the more pumped and gorged she gets, like the more the glamour aesthetic is just heightened. She's like shinier and tighter and sensational.
I mean, I know it's like it's a feat to behold and a feat to see. I mean, I've got still like so much regard for all of them. I think they're incredible.
I love for you how glamour's not just the look. It's like, what are you doing? Who are you? It's like a whole embodiment of everything.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I suppose there's a part of the glamour which is kind of about like how you carry yourself. You know, it's like, you can look $1 million, but like that doesn't necessarily mean you're glamorous. There's something about kind of your persona, something about how you kind of interact with the world that makes you incredibly glamorous. And that can be on like a micro level or a macro level, but it's like, you know, your interactions with the world around you and your contribution can, 100%. You know, be just as glamorous as how you look.
When you look at something like Studio 54 as well, like the most glamorous people in Studio 54, like, you know, when you would see these photos, and it's like, obviously Bianca Jagger is like a timeless beauty.
Right.
But then people are always sharing photos of like Warhol and like Michael Jackson and like Elizabeth Taylor and stuff in there. It's like, to me, they are absolutely not the most glamorous people in.
Well, that's just like, because it's celebs in the club, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's like you said, it's like people like Halston. It's people like Divine. It's people that had like a indelible like mark on what that culture was then that are the most glamorous to me. Like, and the people that were probably the most fucked up as well. When you see Grace Jones and she is like laying down on the floor, just like drenched in sweat, it's like, that's the most glamorous, not like the sort of like celeb aspect of it.
And also, I feel like people kind of conflate like sparkle and like a degree of maximalism with glamour as well, where actually some of the most glamorous people are the most like chicly, most minimally dressed. When you think of someone like Halston, or you think of someone, or even someone like Tina Chow, who died in the other, but you know, was like captured by Warhol and was kind of like a club person in the 70s and 80s. And she was like the most glamorous woman ever, but was always so minimally put together. And, you know, so it doesn't have to look one way.
I love that picture of Saint Laurent. It's like from like a boat party or something. And it's like a picture of Saint Laurent and Tina Chow. And she's just like, she looks like a statue. Like just like the most gorgeous. She's so incredible. So how do you think this generation, I was going to say our generation, but unfortunately you might be 2 to 3 years younger than me. How do you think this generation has evolved, like the profession of what a drag artist does? And like, how do you think your role as a drag artist, how do you think that's changed? And how you have helped change that for yourself?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I was having this conversation the other day with an incredible kind of costume maker, designer, visual artist called Max Allen, who I think you might be aware because he's made some stuff for Ginny Lemon and he makes loads of fab stuff for Sharon Legrand, etc. And he's an incredible talent.
And most recently on Bailey J. Mills. Did you see that little fashion moment for herself? Fantastic.
Miss Bailey, I mean, you want to talk expanding the remit of what the girls can do. Miss Bailey,
we're interviewing her on Thursday for the.
I'm so fucking jealous. I was supposed to be doing a gig with her. I was supposed to be doing a gig with her with the Fabu crew on like literally like the day after.
Yes.
Because she was supposed to be coming to do our club night. I'm gagging to meet the bitch. I can't fucking wait. But yeah, no. In terms of what a drag queen can do, well, I think you know what? I think that actually drag has always flirted with kind of mainstream culture. You know, we've seen it with people like Danny LaRue in the 60s and 70s, Lily Savage and Judy and Claire in the 80s and 90s. Like, people are always interested in drag. People are really drawn to it. Now, whereas before it kind of came and went, I feel like now drag feels very kind of permanent in terms of entertainment and in terms of sort of popular culture. I don't see it going away. What I do see it as is that maybe the interest will decline, but I feel like, it's like Love Island in a way, or, kind of like, Bag of Chips is on Celebrity MasterChef. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
They've been working hard.
What is she cooking?
A crock of shit.
See that.
Garbage.
Like, fucking Mississippi mud pies, bitch. It was not cute at all. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like in terms of where drag can go and what drag will kind of like look like, I feel like drag now is just as much a kind of like, it's almost like a machine for creating entertainers just as much as any other reality kind of show would do, So it's like, I feel like in that regard, it has staying power. But for me, like, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in doing drag in places where it still feels a bit strange or it doesn't necessarily feel appropriate, which is why I really enjoy DJing in drag, because I'm not half of my DJ gigs aren't in gay kind of bars. They're not for queer people. I'm DJing for a lot of straight people and, a lot of times for straight men. Well, you would say, ooh, and to me, I was shook at first, but then actually and to be fair, like, I don't play, I don't necessarily play like disco and house, and I play like grime and like dubstep and like dembow and
when's your next gig? We're coming down.
Yeah, I need to hear.
I need to do a little two-step skank ASAP.
Like, I don't play, or like Gareth, like, I don't play stuff which you would hear in gay bars. I play a lot of stuff which you would think a conventionally straight audience would enjoy. And so for me, I feel that I half go into that space and I go, I don't give a fuck what any of you cunts think, because I'm going to win you over regardless. But then the other half of me is like, actually, you know what? As a fucking like drag queen and as like a queer person, if I'm going into a straight space, I do low key sometimes feel like it's my duty to have all these people that have, well, just to kind of like, so that all these, people will have a preconception of my talent, my ability and my taste level. And then I will do an hour set, and I want specifically all the straight men to walk away from my set being like, that fucking drag queen turned me out. And fucking
they wouldn't be saying that.
Yeah, imagine that. Yes,
honey!
Bitch. Imagine if they walked up to you like, oh, you
don't.
Boots.
Like,
but yeah, that's sick.
Right, do you know what I mean? It's like before lockdown, I played this. There's this incredible thing. It's kind of like Boiler Room. It's called Keep Hush, and they do these like amazing live stream DJ sets. And I had the pleasure, kind of chance to do one in February 2020, just before lockdown. And the entire set, there's a man standing behind me wearing like a balaclava, like a straight man, like wearing a balaclava, like going ham and like living for what I'm doing. And I'm like green with chandelier earrings, like wearing a gold suit. And it's like drag actually can go anywhere and can be anything and can kind of work in a variety of different settings. It's just all about how, it's just all, we have to kind of open our minds to the possibilities of it being the case. But, drag doesn't look one way and doesn't cater to one sort of audience. There's a drag queen for everybody and every single thing.
And I think your character in your presentation appears, I don't want to make any judgments about it, but it appears like quite gender non-conforming. And it's quite, like, your presentation is quite like bizarre to, I imagine, to a hetero audience, because your drag isn't like incredibly like high femme presenting. And do you wear wigs all the time as well, or do you go bald?
You know what? I'm kind of half and half, to be honest. I think it depends on, depends on the gig and depends on the function, really. I mean, I am a wig girl more and more and more.
Hello.
Thanks to you guys.
Soon to be.
I'm so fucking gassed. It's going to be major. But I'm also a big hat girl. Like, I love me a hat. Yeah. I love me a hat. I love me a little headpiece. And then also, because I do have like very short hair and kind of like, as other people said, a very nicely shaped head, I can get away with also kind of like doing a bald look. So it depends. It's all about what works.
I think when it's more gender non-conforming, I think like hetero people this might be a wild accusation, but I feel like if you are
the hetero police, I'll let you know.
if you are femme presenting, then it gives them a much easier way to angle their misogyny. So like, okay, you are just like a woman. Like, you are a woman to me. I'll be rude to you as I would be to a woman, and also low key as a queer person. But I think if your presentation is more, which yours is like much more artistic and hard to pin down, then they don't really know what they can be rude about, because it's just it's a creative expression, and it's a much harder to sort of.
Yeah, sure. No, you're totally right, and you know, it's quite fun. And actually, kind of like I'm prepping some looks right now for DJ gigs, and actually, like, low key, my plan this summer is to turn up to the club looking cunt. Like,
yes.
Like, turning up, really giving like womana down, like blue woman or like silver woman, but like woman.
We need to get into that. You know that reference you sent of the like stripy, just the straight down stripy one. Good. I'm planning some performances again, because I think I'm going to start kind of like lip syncing in the clubs as well, and kind of like doing that pre-set or doing that in the middle of a set. Maybe I'm like thinking of some ways to kind of do it. And you know, like the new Doja Cat album just came out, and you know, my like legs are like very naturally thick and juicy, and you know,
sorry about it.
But you know what I mean? And it's like, I think that, you know, if there will be club trade, and they will be wanting a piece of like a 7 foot like blue bitch. I just know it. So it's like, I'm not going to pass on opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gunning for it.
She is the 7 foot tree to climb.
She is.
She's ready. Hello.
Yeah. I insist. If you're listening, hit me up.
From the reaches of my voice, message her.
Can you tell us about how you got involved with SHOWstudio and what your voice brings?
Yeah.
Sure thing. So I actually interned at SHOWstudio when I came back to London from uni, and I interned there in like the spring of 2018, I think, and was there for 3 months. And
Sidebar, where did you go to uni and what did you study?
I went to Bristol and I did art history, which was the most pointless degree ever. I did start drag in Bristol, which was fab. But like, I mean, art history, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fucking cross-dressing DJ now. It's like, whoop-de-doo, like, always fucking money.
That's smart.
Yeah, surely you have some subconscious inspirational pulls from the history of art across the ages.
Exactly.
I mean, cross fingers. I'll let you know that. I mean, let's just say if they ever invite me to come and do an alumni event, I will happily decline. But I came back and I was interning there, and basically when I interned, they would at a point where they were doing these they do like these like half-year projects, and so when I arrived, they were kind of asking me what do I do, and I remember saying to Georgina Evans, who was the editor at the time, she was like, so what do you do when you're kind of not, you know, what do you do outside of kind of work? And I was like, oh, well, I'm a drag queen actually, and that's what got me the job. That's what got me the internship, because I told her I was a drag queen. And actually, one bit of advice I'd say right now is, if you're ever doing a job interview and your prospective employer asks you, what do you do outside of work? Always tell them you're a drag queen, even if you're not, because they'll want to hire you. Like, the number of jobs I've got because I said I'm a drag queen, like, it's actually a joke. Like, in art galleries, in fucking hospitality, anywhere, say you're a drag queen, you'll get work. And basically, they did this like for like 6 months, and it was amazing. Like, you know, on like one day Beth Ditto is coming in to be interviewed, on like another day, you know, like Munro Bergdorf and Mickey Blanco are like coming in, and basically at the end of that time I was asked to basically do this like live stream performance event and like come up with a performance. So I did like a lip sync to Shirley Bassey and like covered myself in shopping bags and like squeezed tangerines all over myself.
Yes.
As you do, because I had scurvy at the time. And
More of a threat than you would think.
Yeah,
Continual
exactly.
scurvy.
Turns out just like a punnet of easy peelers will cure that, just in case. Yeah, and then they've always been very, very supportive of me and have always asked me back to come and like do panels and to kind of host stuff and to kind of just like be a part of their thing, and they're really fab and I really like them over there.
And this is a really wank angle of it, but like, what do you think you as your voice brings? Because it's obviously so heavy with stylists and people that have like a very specific angle about their takedown of the shows. Takedown is probably not the right word, but sometimes. And take down also the comments. The people that watch SHOWstudio, like, get out of the fucking YouTube comment. They have something to say about every single person that gets on there.
People often do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, I low-key live. When I did that Diesel panel a couple of weeks ago, and I really liked the show. I thought the show was actually really fab. And then just like just this like bitchy little fashion twink had the gall and the audacity to be like, oh God, I would enjoy watching it, but Zooey ruins it for me every single time. And it's like, I literally do a panel a year for SHOWstudio, so I don't know what you mean by like every single time. Like, why are you following me around the internet, you freak?
I'm only talking for 20% of the time as well. Like, Go watch a fucking cartoon. Jesus.
Right, I know. But it's like these people are like would gag to get on a SHOWstudio panel. So I think they see someone there and they're just like, oh my God, like how dare they kind of take my spot. But like in terms of what I bring, you know, like I kind of work in and around fashion and have done for some time, but like I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't say like I'm permanently working in the fashion industry, but I'm like a creative person and someone who enjoys clothes and enjoys fashion, who kind of like works in the remit of that. So I think they asked me because I have a kind of a perspective which maybe someone who's like fully in it wouldn't necessarily. And I'm also kind of looking at it from the kind of point of view of like a performer, and I'm looking at it from the point of like a queer perspective, which, you know, a lot of times they don't necessarily have. So I think that's probably why.
And I think people as well, that especially like drag artists, they have like a proximity to couture, that like drag costumes are so theatrical and they're so, I mean, maybe couture is a bit grand for some drag costumes, but like, do you know what I mean? Like in a lot of stylists, they like, unless they're doing like a really high, really moneyed editorial, they wouldn't really get into that world. So I think that actually drag artists are a really good example of people that like go to the absolute extremes of fashion. And
for sure.
So someone like you is like so great for that.
Oh, sure. Well, you know, as well, like, I mean, especially you look at the girls, some of the girls who were just on season 2 of Drag Race UK. And, you know, there's like no doubt in my mind that like some of the costumes that they're wearing have had hours and hours and hours spent on them, you know, weaving and sewing and, you know, kind of like intricate paneling, like all sorts of things. And it's like, you know, there's something about couture and there's something about that whole thing, which is, you know, that's like an elitist structure. And the couture shows are made for the richest 500 women in the world. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. And so the whole point is it's supposed to be totally untouchable. So then I love hearing that, you know, there's like a drag queen working in Glasgow or in Somerset who, you know, is like commissioning a gown to be made, which, you know, takes hours and hours of time. That is such like a rich kind of beautiful thing. And it's also just like fuck couture, do you know what I mean? Like couture is fab, but also like I kind of want to see a girl in like a lycra kind of like stretch dress, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's just
four-way stretch. But like I was fucking screaming when Bimini came down the runway and they were like, oh, this is a remake of an Iris Van Herpen dress. It was like, okay, so Iris Van Herpen is like what I would regard as like one of the highest, most elevated couturiers ever, and like their sort of like structural design and stuff. It was like that someone is just sitting in their bedroom being like, give me a photo of it, I'll make it. And they did make a decent, like, not a replica, but like in the style of it. It was fucking insane. It was like, they are known as...
Weren't there actually 2 Iris Van Herpen dresses kind of around the same time in Drag Race world? Wasn't there? Like, Bimini's was really good. Oh no, it was fucking, what's her name? It was that girl from Chicago. What's she called? Denali was like, oh, this is my, like, hers was.
What look was that?
It was, oh God, it was like, I don't know, it was early in the season, but it was like, she was like, this is like my Iris Van Herpen creation. And it was a little bit suspicious. Bimini in comparison was top tier.
Yeah. It blew my mind that like someone that can work at that level that is just completely unknown. And also the gall of it to be like, yeah, actually, this is my reference.
This lilac jobby.
Let's have a look.
Oh, the green screen's letting us down there.
The green screen. But I can...
Yeah, but it's kind of like...
Yes.
Yeah, kind of very wide with like a nude panel here, lilac, and then a kind of billowy, sort of puffy skirt. But yeah, not cute.
I think if with the Bimini one, if you would have told me that it was an Iris Van Herpen dress, I would have believed it.
Yeah, sure. And also, you know, it's like, I mean, my God, like fashion and clothing shouldn't be for a chosen few and shouldn't be for people with X amount of money. You know, like you should be able to have the things you want, regardless of who you are, where you come from, and like the amount of money that you have. And so I think, you know, when you see queens reference fashion, it's like, and, you know, and maybe people get like angry about it. They kind of go, oh, she's copying this. It's like, remember that like queer culture and drag culture is so influential on fashion, and especially right now you look at everything from like Jeremy Scott and Moschino to the new Victor and Rolf show to Vaquera to, you know, Dolce & Gabbana to like all that stuff. It's like that's just as much down to drag as it is to anything else.
Someone that used to come in our office, maybe I won't name drop them so much, but maybe you'll get by the voice. When the Kim Jones show came out, like we were sitting around and it was like us, them and Georgie, and like sitting around watching the show, and she was literally like, when it came down the runway, she was like, look at that, that's me, that's I bet I was on the mood board. She was like, that's me, that makeup looks like me, that hair looks like me. And it's like, yes, like,
and then did she go and ring him?
Yeah, she sent like a voice note to Kim Jones being like, am I on the mood board for this? Like, it's like every single sort of facet, especially of London queer culture, is so influential, and it's so visible as well. Like, it's so obvious and transparent. Like, so who is? It's crazy. But
I know.
Can we talk about Drag Race? Have you seen the most recent episode?
What? I haven't seen it.
Okay. Have you seen any of them of All Stars?
Yes, I have been watching All Stars 6. I haven't seen the most recent episode. It's interesting, isn't it?
It's a screamer. We like the energy from when our first season of the podcast that we did was because it was UK. We knew like some of the girls. The difference in energy between us talking about All Stars and like the UK one is.
Well, also as well as like we might know or end up meeting people from the UK ones, or like the wig makers might sort of have something to say. But with this one, we're like, man, fuck these bitches. Your wig looks like shit.
Yeah. We've got a section in the podcast called The Zinger and the Minger, which is like the best wig and the worst wig. And like when we were doing it for UK, it was like we knew basically every person that had done the wig. So we were just like, I wouldn't call it a minger, but it's probably just not something that I would go for. Then us on All Stars, we're like, fuck that wig. It was rank, like just like going so hard.
Have you got a front runner or a favourite?
Do I have a front runner or a favourite? I mean, gosh. I think Eureka O'Hara is easily the best prepared.
We're still waiting for a big girl to win.
We're still waiting for a big girl to win, and she would be the girl to do it. She's obviously also the most coined, which I think has helped. But I think, you know, she's crazy talented, and there's no reason why she shouldn't win. I think Akaria Chanel Davenport is
full name.
Absolutely. Oh, of course, yeah. I think she's beautiful, and I think she's really talented, and I'd love to see her go far. I think Sonique is gorgeous. My problem, I don't know, like, I don't know what to say, because All Star 6, can we all maybe kind of postulate on the idea that this many All Star seasons in, is it still All Stars? Or is it just
some
give
stars.
the girls, or is it some stars? Or is it just like give the girls another go stars? Which is also fine.
There's like, 4 of them that are on their 3rd chance now. Right.
And, you know, like, also it's like, if we're going to bring back Ginger Minj, who was also on All Stars 2, like, where's Alyssa Edwards?
Thank you.
Alyssa Edwards back. Get Pokemon.
Katia, hello.
Yeah.
100%. You know what I mean? Or, you know what, at this point, it's like, I feel like it feels slightly over-franchised. And I, for one, I'm someone who is like, let's do kind of like the Legends season. Let's have Lady Bunny versus Coco Peru versus, you know, fucking like Flotilla DeBarge. Like, let's 100%. Do that. You know what I mean?
Sherry Vine, like literally every single old go out. And even people like Joey Arias and stuff, like literally like people that are just on, like even close to have been like so influential in the drag scene. Get Amanda on it. Imagine Mandy rocking up, giving you on the mic.
Giving you a comedy challenge, the stand-up challenge.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I would really want to see. Or, you know, people always talk about it on the various podcasts, but, you know, kind of like, or a winners season.
Or a first out season. I'd like to see that.
Lady Portia Parker. But I think realistically, we've spoken about this, like, I don't think a lot of the winners feel secure enough, especially as the franchise has like evolved. I don't think a lot of them would feel secure enough to go again.
I wouldn't. No. If you've won already, you don't need to prove yourself. And why do you want to like tarnish your crown? Like you've got that title. Just keep.
Ask BB.
Yeah, well.
You know? But like
she only won 5K or something though, didn't she?
True. Just like a participation trophy. But like there's many girls that have like won that are like very good at like one skill. Look at like Bianca, who I would say is like she says she's an insult comic. Violet, who is like a self-proclaimed look queen. That actually, if they were having to go up against people like, look at someone like Shay, or like these later queens that have like really, they have every single skill in their wheelhouse. So it's like, how would they go up against them?
You know how I would frame it is that I would actually, what I'd do is I'd pay the girls all $100,000 for competing. And then the prize would be $1 million to a chosen charity. So then the pressure's kind of off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, then you can give it to like mermaids. I mean, if it was in the UK, or, you know, you could give it to kind of like Trevor Project or XYZ. And so then the girls are competing to like raise money for charity. And you know, like the crown is kind of like a bonus. You know, if they all get coined irregardless, and it's like, just like fucking go, show up, be like a catty cunt, have loads of fun and leave. Because, you know, it's like, love Raja O'Hara, but like, I don't know, just like, I'm not gagging.
Oh, we've done a real 180 on her season. Yeah, I hated 100%. Her so much, and now
true.
I can say hate now because I've left it behind. Yes. But yeah, now like I love her so much. Like great attitude. Apart from the newest episode, I think she's been turning it every week. I mean, she turned the performance, but when you see the runway, it's a bit.
I literally this lineup of girls, I really deeply care about Kylie Sonique Love deeply,
and TKB.
But apart from that, like I was they're two girls. I was like, oh, glad to see you back. The rest of the cast, I was like, absolutely nothing for me. It was like the most lukewarm I've ever been.
Trinity K. Bonet should have been on All Stars like 3 seasons ago. Like Trinity K. Bonet is one of the most incredibly talented. That when she does that brainstorming, loving is really my game. That video of her competing at the pageant. And I actually think Kelly Davenport is one of her backing dancers in that performance. Trinity K. Bonet is off the chains talented and is an all-star, like point blank. Period. My problem is that with the All Stars, it feels like it feels a little bit smash and grab, and it feels like All Stars for the sake of All Stars. And you know, it's like I understand that there's like an immense amount of money to be made, and so I kind of get it. Like everybody should, you know, get their coin, but at the same time, it's like it stops being as special when there's so much of it.
Yeah, think of All Stars 2. When that cast list came out, I was like losing my fucking mind. The best season of Drag Race ever, IMO.
Yeah, no.
Where do you personally stand on sort of the tricky pathway of like how we are, of like being like super fans of drag, but like the actual platform of RuPaul's Drag Race is like obviously highly problematic.
Lady Fracker. And then
not being a fan of like, personally, I'm not like a fan of RuPaul. So like this sort of like back and forth of like support the gals, but don't support the show, if that makes sense. And we have a podcast about it. Crazy.
It's a weird one, you know. The fact that there is now an entire industry worldwide which caters to cross-dressers, I think is fucking incredible. And I think the fact that, you know, queer people who are weird and fucked up and are confused about their own gender can get paid thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not now millions of pounds a year to do what they do, I think is amazing. And I think that RuPaul's Drag Race point blank is 99.99% responsible for that being the case. And I think that's amazing. And I think that culturally it's been an incredible contribution. However, as you said, it's a deeply problematic kind of show format and should be more democratic. And it isn't. And that is a shame. So it's one of those things, you know, it's like with anything. It's like, you know, one of my favorite artists ever is Azealia Banks. Do I agree with every single thing Azealia Banks has said and done? Absolutely not. But will I keep listening to her music and will I keep thinking she's an incredible artist with immense talent?
New song out as well, new song.
new song out, Fucking Him All Night, aspirational summer jam, which is what she knows how to do.
Always.
So it's like,
did you see that? Also, did you see the live where she was like in tears, just talking about? She's like, "I'm really sorry to the queer community. I've been rude sometimes, but you've really been holding me up." And she's like,
"Oh, she apologized. Yeah. That's good."
I mean, it's going to be a list, but like, it was very emotional.
It's like with anything, I feel like culturally we're in a place right now where you have to kind of agree with everything one way or another. Everything has to be very black and white. Everything has to be very on the binary. And actually it's like, no, as human beings, the world is a complicated, nuanced place. And what we should do is take the things that we like and leave the things that we don't and challenge them where we see appropriate. That's all we can do. Otherwise it's like, if I wasn't to kind of listen to every single artist who was deeply problematic, I'd have like no one left to listen to on my phone. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's like Drag Race. It's like, I won't stop watching Drag Race because it's a deeply entertaining and like fabulous television show and it's amazing and the talent on there is incredible. But it's also problematic as fuck. Like, so's the X Factor. And listen, we've all been watching those evil Rachel clips on YouTube.
The
it's
best.
like, we do. What do we do? Like,
on Drag Race, what challenge do you think that you would just body?
I mean, I don't know. In my private life and in my personal life, I'm a roast master general.
Okay. A general. That's pretty high up, I imagine. I'm a pacifist.
Army things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I know where to throw in an army race. Yeah. Conversation.
We got the buzz cuts. We should be getting some terminology in there. I'm feeling very jarhead.
Right, it's like very Demi Moore in G.I. Jane. It's very... you know what I mean?
The gayest.
Yeah, like... I like to think that if I was like on Drag Race UK and if I was in a room with a bunch of girls and we were like 6 episodes in when they usually do the roasting challenge, I like to think that I'd be able to rip them to shreds because that's something that I feel very confident in doing. I would also love a makeover challenge because I have confidence in my makeup skills. I went through a process of basically dragging up a variety of friends, like, men, women, my non-binary friends, with a variety of different face shapes, and a variety of different challenges were posed, and each one of them ends up looking sublime. So I'd love to do a makeover challenge. I actually have doubles of a lot of outfits on my hanger in case the opportunity ever presents itself.
Lovely.
Yeah. So no, I think those two I would love for sure.
And also for someone with an iconic paint as well, it just gives you a step up. It's like Gottmik.
Or Crystal as well.
Yeah, like if you've got like
makeover
signature, like
she's my soulmate.
If you've got like a signature paint that's so clockable, like then it just puts you a head and shoulders above like just all people giving sort of a lovely Anastasia Beverly Hills glam. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right, do you know what I mean? No, and also just like when Crystal Method did that incredible Bert and Ernie makeover, you like she didn't even win that challenge, did she? It was someone else who won.
Robbed.
Yeah, no, it was the glam gals, wasn't it? Jada and her one, I think.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no. So I think those two I would love to do.
I feel that's a very bold thing to say. Like no one ever says the roasting challenge.
Oh really?
Never. Like often the makeover challenge, if people are like, I feel confident in my paint, but like the roasting challenge is
I'd say makeover, I'd say roast, and give me an acting challenge and
I give you what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have no problem kind of like acting the house down, especially when you've got to be some like crackpot fucking like EastEnders extra like.
Oh, it was so good. Can you tell us, if you can remember, a particularly favourite nightlife memory?
Oh yeah, London nightlife.
Oh my God, London nightlife memory. You know what? I've been very lucky and very blessed to be invited to some quite sexy, glamorous parties in my time. And in terms of, I'll give you one which was drag and give you one that was out of drag. Yes. I went to in the good old days of pre-coronavirus, I went to a party at the Brasserie of Light at Selfridges for a Pat McGrath makeup launch. God. And I was ushered to basically, I was kind of like pushed into this thing. Firstly met Zooey Ashton, who is fucking beautiful.
Ooh, yeah.
And then was ushered towards Pat McGrath and had like lovely 2 minutes with Pat, which was just
Mother.
Yeah, literally mother, and she was just like holding court in a booth, and like Mike Q was DJing. It was like
Were you up in it
just
as well?
like oh yeah, fully like painted. It was like me and Charity Case were like the freaks who were invited.
I would literally be like hiding my badly blocked brows. I'd be like, so Pat, it's a pleasure to meet you. A legend, some would say. Like, so.
I mean, I was like kind of knew I had to paint like extra fierce that night because obviously it was like going to like mother's party, and then obviously show up in Charity Cases. They were like black tat teeth, just like a green witch with like a fake nose. So I was like, okay, well. Work. So no, that, and I also actually did do a party for 10 magazine where Val Garland came up to me and was
ding dong.
I got ding donged by Val. And
the highest praise.
No, the highest praise, especially because it was very like bright lighting at the party. I was like DJing at this fashion party, but it was like very bright to the point where it was like homophobic, like dragophobic. So dim it down a bit. And then just before lockdown, I went to a party at the where was it? Is it at the Ritz or somewhere? It's like that big hotel next to Green Park. Burberry did this party and saw Tyler, the Creator.
He's my favourite as well.
I don't think I could pull myself together. I'd be like...
I mean, honestly. And Mahmood. You know that guy Mahmood?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, so that was, I mean, and Tyler, the Creator is like...
What was he wearing?
He looked $1 million. He had like a gorgeous cap on, like a lovely sort of expensive looking polo shirt. He's like really tall and actually kind of like really like big. He's kind of like a big guy, and he looked so healthy. He's just, you know, when people are so rich that they just look healthy.
He's always getting his manis and pedis, and he's always looking after himself.
Yeah.
Is that a Le Fleur t-shirt you're wearing now?
No, it's not actually. It's actually Lazy Oath, but it very much could be.
Yeah. Super cute.
Yeah. Oh,
have you had a person, we obviously need you to hot them up as much as possible. Have you had a person that has followed you or messaged you that has made you lose your mind, and who?
God, have I had a person who's followed me who's made me lose my mind? Who was I gassed over? Oh my God, that's such a good question. I'm trying. I do have one person, but I didn't follow them back.
Ooh,
shade of it all.
Okay.
Who, I mean, so maybe I shouldn't stay. But only because I'm like, I mean, really like not to kind of like be like a catty cunt or to think that, you know, to like delusions of grandeur, just because I'm like, I don't know, just like not that interested. But in terms of people who've followed me, who I've gagged over. Oh my God, that's so interesting. Has there been anybody? Lily Allen. I mean, like, come on, like out of nowhere. Like,
he's my number one most hated celebrity of all time.
If you're watching this, Lily.
Oh my God.
If you're watching this, Lily, probably not the platform for you.
Stop listening to me, Pod. Get off. Sling your rook.
Although a Sunday Times bestseller with her book. Really done a 180 on that.
But you didn't follow her back.
I didn't follow her back.
Suck it, bitch.
She had a real moment because she got Cora Delaney as her stylist, and then all of a sudden she was like, giving you bad bitch. I'm sorry to say it. She was styled well for a moment.
Anyone rich can be a bad bitch. I don't care.
So what's our excuse?
We are poor.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, Lily Allen was a gag, even though I didn't follow her back, just because it's like that's just like a woman from my childhood. And then I think like the editor-in-chief of like another magazine, a guy called Alistair Mackey follows me on Instagram, which is you know, kind of crazy because you just think
maybe
like,
you can hot step in. What's his other magazine called? He's got another like really sick, like a side project magazine. Maybe you can hot step into that. That's like amazing editorial, Alistair Mackey.
I remember Charles Jeffrey followed me on Instagram at one point, and that was kind of fab as well, because as someone who, you know, it's like when someone who you kind of admire who works in the fashion industry like follows you, you know, it's like I remember even though it was a couple of years ago when it was when I like first quit drinking, because I'm like I don't drink or like do cocaine anymore. Thank God, 2.5 years strong. But I remember like
2.5 years sober.
Well, 2.5 years not drinking or doing coke.
Very good. Congrats.
But as like Hunter Stranger would say, I'm very much green. And so
sure.
420
lifestyle.
420.
A horse never hurt anyone either, am I right?
bit of brown's fine.
Yeah. I'm off the coke and on the pipe. So
exactly. I just need to chill out. I just had too much energy. Do you know what I mean? Anything that takes me down.
Exactly. A little ambient.
And then finally, is there anyone who is in like the drag or performance artiste world that maybe is lesser known that you want to put a little spotlight on or shout out or anything like that?
Gosh, well, I mean, I went to the incredible Adonis drag show over the summer. I don't know if you guys had the pleasure of going, but it was like...
Touche.
Yes.
Yes, our good baby angel, Georgie B.
Right, of course, because Georgie, wears your beautiful wigs, and it was obviously in the show.
She's meant to share a studio with us, but she's been here about twice.
Yeah, and we do actually share a studio with Georgie, but she's a woman on the go. She's
she's booked, busy and blessed. Like she's really. In terms of, so obviously, like, and I've known Sharon. I met Sharon Agram for the first time when I was in Bristol, and she's like, unbelievably talented and incredible.
So gorgeous.
Always Sharon. I think Sharon's one of the most exciting, brilliant performers ever. I 100%. Would actually love to spotlight. I do have a daughter called Ratty Bye Bye.
A daughter? Spotlight, please.
Oh no, I have a daughter called Ratty Bye Bye, and
fantastic.
She's like, she was actually just in like the last Burberry show, dancing away. She's fucking amazing. She puts together the most incredible looks. She's like she's like the most beautiful. She's like how I wish I looked. Like she puts me to shame because she's so beautiful. And also I do I wouldn't necessarily call her mother, but she's definitely, maybe we could say auntie, Craig Template, who shouts to Craig Template, love Craig Template. Go stream her music on Spotify and YouTube. Honestly, when I tell you, this music is
heaven.
It's to die, honestly. She's got a song for every mood.
Oh,
okay. If you're feeling contemplative and kind of like want to like look out your window and think about a boy who you fancied once, Look Up to the Sky is the song for you. Like if you feel like getting down and dirty in the disco, Old Bones is the song for you. She's incredible. She's like the Jean de Buffet outsider artist of queer performers.
Straddling all the genres.
Are you also a music PR? Because you are selling her down. What at her in the comments?
I do work in music, and it is my job to like make people look and feel fab. So Craig Template, like the girl, like hit her up. She's amazing. Well, I mean, Sharon as well just has like the most incredible taste ever. Like, in like another life. In another life, she was like, what's the name? Like that fucking. She was like the editor in chief of like American Vogue. She's like Diana Vreeland. Like Diana.
Yeah, she's like an Anna Piaget. Like she's like one of them, like batty. Also, side note, I just thought, do you follow, I think it's like Skiora Glam on Instagram? Oh my God. I don't know how I found about it. Someone must have sent it to me or whatever. It's like street style photos of like older Italian women that are just like the height of glamour that they're just catching in like Milan and stuff. It's like Scuria, Skiora Glam. And it's just literally, it's like, everything is like an editorial photo shoot. Where they like emulate like sort of like Helmut Newton. It's like incredible. Get into it with the glamour. Mm.
Yeah, Sharon's top dog when it comes to style. Like, she's been mood boarded by fucking everyone. You just know,
100%.
Know it. So yeah.
And also as well, Princess Julia. The style of PJ now is like just every single time I see her, just like how she puts outfits together is just fantastic. And them clip-on hair pieces. My favourite. My absolute favourite.
I mean, some people really just like, some people have, I suppose you could call it style, but it's like, it's kind of more than that in a way. It's like some people just have like in their DNA, like tattooed, like in their bones, just like the most incredible way of expressing themselves. And Princess Julia and Sharon are like two peas in a pod in that way. They're just like Josh Quinton as well. Like Josh Quinton is just someone who like lives and breathes style, like in every aspect of their being. Do you know what I mean? Just like incredibly stylish and makes it look effortless. So love and respect to all of them for sure.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. What a gorgeous. See, we told you the energy of having a presenter as a guest. Really,
we have to keep our pace up. Yeah. Very simpatico.
Did our job for us, basically.
So lovely. I've had such a nice time. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your time.
And can I just say as well before we go that your work is truly phenomenal and brilliant and bringing something really great to like the London drag scene and like the queer performance scene in general, and it's really refreshing and really inspiring. So I just wanted to say like love your work, and it's like an honor to be asked to do this podcast.
Oh, and that is such high honourable praise coming from you.
Yeah.
Should we just circle jerk?
Yeah. Soggy biscuit, last one standing. It's just with our drag, like it's so nice to hear people say that, because like we are under no illusions that we're like the greatest wig stylists or whatever, but the hairstyles that we like is just like wigs that look like hair. Which is like, again, like not in everyone's, like a lot of people like love a good high pony, a pageant, like all of that, which is not something that we're that into. So like the majority of ours is just that we're trying to just make it look like often like fashion references, but just like hair. Just like
no, sure.
The hair of the crossies and the hookers. Like
what exactly? And you know, we as a crossie and aspirational hooker, I sincerely appreciate your contribution. I can't wait for this wig that you guys have done for me.
Oh, she is sitting right here. She is nearly done.
No sneak peeks though.
But I mean, honestly, like I think let's do more. Let's do like as many as we can. Do you know what I mean? Like let's get a wardrobe of wigs together.
And can I just ask, when are you DJing next? I really need to go and dance to some grime and garage.
Yeah, tell the girls where they can find you.
Let me have a look at my fucking calendar. Jesus Christ. Okay, so if it opens on the 17th, I've got a gig. Oh yeah, so back to back. I'm doing on the 30th of this month of July. I'm playing Gala Festival in South London, and then there's a Fabu that night on the 30th in the evening in East London.
Is it Vogue Fabrics?
I don't think it is at Vogue Fabrics. I think it might be at Donio, which is the kind of the house bar in Stoke Newington. So you should definitely go check that out. Fabu is incredible. Or I've got therapy that same week as well.
Lovely. It's such a wholesome week.
I mean, like every girl like needs a bit every once in a while. And then from there it's like every weekend. So I'm like doing Brainchild Festival. I'm doing like party.
One of our friends runs Brainchild. Do you know Isabella? Isabel?
Oh, amazing.
Isabel. Yeah.
I'm doing Brainchild, got Keep Hush Day Festival, which is going to be at the Cause. I mean, I'm doing a party for like Axel Aragato and the Keith Haring Foundation. There's just like very cute little things. And I've just been signed to both Crumb Agency and also Icy.
Love it.
Crumb and who, sorry?
Crumb and Icy, so actually Cora Delaney's agency.
Nice. They're sort of like, no,
they're fab. They represent like Kaya, Jamal, and my friend George, who's also an amazing DJ. So like fucking book the bit.
It's happening.
We'll be on a dance floor requesting Sambuca sometime soon.
Yeah. And can I just ask as well, I actually don't know the answer to this. How old are you?
Wow.
I'm 26. 27 in September.
Wow, 27.
Such a big, such a wise head on your shoulders. Not big.
I mean, it is.
Imagine,
also
she's like, you have a gigantic head. Like, what?
I told you guys when I was messaging about the wig, I was like, can we make sure it gets brushed down?
But also, like, if you are 6'6", like, you can't have a pea head. I'm sorry.
No, I've had some wigs made, and I've had some wigs made before, and they were beautiful wigs, but I should have stressed in the email when I was having the commission, like, you might need to put, you might have to accommodate for the fact that I have, like, very wide shoulders.
Where's Samantha Jones?
Right, exactly. It's those like Ungaro shoulder pads. Exactly.
It has been a dream. So thank you so much. And we'll see you soon.
Yes. See you soon. I can't wait.
Amazing. Right. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.